All right. Well, I think we're probably good to call roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Klein,
Here.
Comet,
Yeah.
Charnas,
Here.
Vincent,
Here.
Perry,
Here.
Silver,
Here.
Duber.
I'm here. I'll make a motion to reappoint Scott Lewis to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2023. Is there a second?
I will definitely second that.
Oops, I got Judd
A
first.
tie there. I had a Judd Hand and a Stacy.
Talk too much. I got Judd first.
I'll let Anna go ahead and determine
I
who that.
Surprise us. Who's the second?
All right.
Hi, Scott. Do you want to do this again?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Right.
And it will be, I think, a total of 18 years, assuming I complete the upcoming term. I joined in 2005.
Are you planning on not completing it? Is there something?
No, God willing, I'll complete it. I mean, these are strange times. So I always preface with the God willing now.
Touche. All right. I don't know if anybody really needs to say much more, unless anybody wants to. But if not, let's call roll. Anna, please.
Klein,
Of course. Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnas,
Yes.
Vincent,
Absolutely, yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes.
I'd like to.
And well, welcome back, Scott.
Thank you very much. It's
Would you like to do the oath of office now?
whatever you and the law director prefer. I know I've done this in January before, but I can do it now.
Are you ready?
Sure.
I state your name,
I, Scott Lewis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the rules, regulations, and charter
rules, regulations, and charter
of Orange Village,
of Orange Village,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge my duties
discharge my duties
as Planning and Zoning Commission
as Planning and Zoning Commission
and Architectural Board of Review member
and Architectural Board of Review member
of Orange Village, State of Ohio,
of Orange Village, State of Ohio,
during my continuance in said office.
during my continuance in said office.
Congratulations, welcome aboard. We'll get you another suitable for framing copy of your oath.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I just
Thank you,
want to add,
council.
Scott, it's been a pleasure to have you on the committee on the planning and architectural review boards. You have brought a great deal of stability and consistency in the decision making that we have undertaken over these many years that you've served on the board. And I look forward to your being on for many years to come.
Thank you, Judd, very
Thanks
much.
for playing.
All right. So let's move on, and I will make a motion to approve the treasurer's report fiscal year 2020 through October 2020. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And Dana?
Good evening, everybody. Okay,
Hello.
so you have a cash account summary for October showing that our cash account balance is $9,058,892.83. Our total revenues for all funds was $990,872.66. And our expenditures for all funds was $2,736,944.55. The larger expenses as a result of the Pinecrest TIF last month, we had higher revenues because we collected the funds and the check was cut at the beginning of this month. So that's why there's the variance there. And then you'll notice the Corona Fund 299 is the Coronavirus Relief Fund. As of the end of October, we had received 161, just a little over $161,000. And tonight we'll be discussing the coronavirus revenue and expenditures, so I'll save all that for that time. And then our October revenue and expenditures for the general fund, you have the line item details. We're at 83% of the year, which is 10 out of 12 months. And just looking as an even allocation to each of the line items. We're at 80.79% for revenues for the general fund, and we've spent so just about 68% of the expenditures for the general fund. Most of the variances were timing differences, although we're getting close to the end of the year where those will balance out. And then there were some medical reimbursements in some of the fringe benefit line items. But tonight we're going to be talking about the year end, so I won't spend too much time on October. So that's all I had for the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or
I have a
comments?
question. Do we have to do November if we're doing December now? Yeah, because November will be actual
Yeah, the November will be actual, and then we'll have December. So yes,
again. Okay.
it's up to the pleasure of council.
All right, so if there's no other questions, comments, or whatnot, if you'd call roll, please. That's you, Anna.
I know I have to unmute myself.
I know.
Muted
Okay, Klein.
and frozen.
Oh, you're frozen? I could hear you.
Now I'm not. I keep freezing
Okay.
up.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Comet,
Yes.
Turnus,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. And I will make a motion to approve the tax administrator's report for November 2020. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Dana, if you will, please.
Okay, so for now, November, we have collected about $478,000 in gross collections. Comparing that to November 2019, we had about $48,000 more last November. Year to date, we're about $300,000 down compared to last year. We do anticipate, because of coronavirus being down comparatively to last year, I anticipate us being around the same or a little bit higher once we get through December. And then you have the charts. The first chart is the gross tax revenues showing the November where we stand. I've given you a 5-year history, so you can see that the changes month to month. And then you have the cumulative change. So you can see we're doing better than we were obviously prior to 2019, and we're down slightly from there.
All right. Anybody have questions or comments? Okay, if you would call roll. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
Klein. Sorry. Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Turnus,
Yes.
Might be
Vincent,
frozen.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. Moving on to discussion of bills to be paid in the month of December, the amount of $285,658 and additional November expenses in the amount of $463,200.04. Anybody have any questions, concerns, yada, yada about the bills?
I have a question.
Okay.
There's an expense shown for LJI for some police repairs, and it says reimbursed by insurance. Was that insurance payment made directly to LJI, or did it come through us?
It came to us.
Where is it accounted in income and then expense somehow? How is that
Exactly.
passed through?
The revenue shows up in the revenue line and the expense shows down below, and the two don't overlap. You wouldn't know it.
Shit. Sorry. My internet is having fun today.
Oh, yeah, he's frozen again.
I hope he heard the answer.
All right. Any other questions from anyone? All right. Then let's move on. I will make a motion to approve the management operating budget for the year 2021. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Dana.
The management operating budget is just the worksheets that I had sent out to everybody. And we had discussed at the November, it seems like such a long time ago, at the finance committee. It shows the fund cash for all of the funds. And then it has a statement of revenue and a statement of expenditures for 2021. Our estimated receipts are just over 20 million and our estimated expenditures is about 21.5. The reason for the increase in expenditures over revenue is because of the beginning balances for capital projects that aren't going to be completed or paid until next year. Can answer any questions if there's anything else.
Doesn't seem that way. All right. If you would call, thank you, Dana. If you'd call roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all the department heads who put in a lot of effort and time, and certainly to Dana and the finance department. This is a very large task, and wait till you see what she presents to us a little bit later tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Moving on to audience comments related to agenda items. Anyone? All right. There's no old business, so we'll move on to new business. Actually, this is old business. This is just, the agenda is a little bit wrong, but it's fine. So the old business,
Our second readings.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
So it's not a big deal. Anna, you're fired. No.
What, is it supposed to be third?
No, it's second reading, and that's old
Second reading.
business.
Okay.
Wasn't that what I have? Oh, I put it under new. Oh my God, sorry, I apologize.
I didn't catch it either. Not a big deal at all.
And I fired.
All right, moving on. So this will be old business ordinance 2018 and ordinance appointing the law director, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Singerman Mills, Desberg and Coates, co-LPA, and Stephen Byron to provide legal services from January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, declaring an emergency. This is on for second reading. There's
Is there a
nothing.
reason to suspend on this?
Yeah, just to give Steve some suspense till next year.
Oh, okay.
Although I guess he doesn't buy drinks anymore since this is all virtual these days. But yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason not to suspend the rules. So I think we can. I'll make a motion to suspend.
I'll second that.
Thanks. Anna, would you call roll on suspension, please?
No. Klein. Klein, oh, he's frozen. See his,
But he's
Or he's
smiling.
just sitting
the
very
look
still.
he's
frozen in.
He could just be
Comment?
sitting very still.
Yes.
I know, well, there he is. Klein, do you know what
Yes.
we're voting on? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. And I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2020-18. So second.
Second.
Thank you. Comments? All right, if you call roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
I don't know, I'm gonna think about it. Make Steve wait a little longer. Yeah.
Well, thank you all, even the ones who are frozen.
You still owe us drinks, Steve, so don't think you're getting out of it this year. Just
COVID.
look around. All right, moving on to ordinance 2019. Ordinance appointing Blair Melling as the prosecutor of Orange Village and providing compensation to the prosecutor declaring an emergency. It's on for second reading. I'll make a motion to suspend if there's a second.
Second.
Thank you. Anna, would you call roll on suspension, please?
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. And I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to pass 2019. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, I don't know who. I'm gonna give it to Klein.
Got it. Thanks. Anybody have any questions, comments, or anything? Nope. Okay. If that's the case, if you call roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. All right, and ordinance 2020-20, an ordinance approving and confirming the appointment of Stephen Obancic and Associates as Orange Village engineer and repealing certain ordinances. It's up for second reading. I will make a motion to suspend this as well. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anna, if you go roll on suspension, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. And I will make a motion to pass ordinance 2020. Is there a second? Anyone?
Second.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments, questions, concerns? What's that? Oh, okay, if you would call roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. All right, look at us, it's getting stuff done. All right. Now moving on to new business, ordinance 2020-22, an ordinance amending the annual appropriation ordinance of Orange Village to change certain appropriations for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020, repealing certain ordinances, declaring an emergency. Is that first reading? Administration has requested suspension. I will make a motion to suspend if there is a second.
Seconded.
Thank you. And if you could roll on suspension, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes, and
Are the numbers wrong in the agenda? Because I show ordinance 2022 and 2023 in the
yeah.
material.
The agenda was updated because we used 2021 twice in the old agenda. This 2021 was the mask ordinance.
Okay.
And it passed so fast that the numbers got shuffled.
I do have a question on that. Is it possible that when we get an amended agenda, I know it says amended, but maybe we could like date stamp the new, but just so we know which one is the most current one? That'd be awesome. Thank you.
I'm saying yes, but I'm sure Anna would be if she was not frozen. Oh, okay.
That's fine.
She's hanging with the kids. Thank you.
I'm freezing out here.
all right, and then I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2020-22. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Who would like to speak on this?
Dana?
Okay, so ordinance 2022, that's just the year-end ordinance to sum up our year of services. And we have total appropriations of 22 million, little over $500,000. That's just the appropriations. That's not what we anticipate. We anticipate obviously less because we can't go over any of our expenditures. It does include our coronavirus relief funds, which we'll go over with the next ordinance. And I guess that's just to sum up. And I have to apologize for the agenda that I drove Anna crazy today with trying to get the coronavirus ordinance, which impacted this ordinance. So any agenda snafus is probably a result of the craziness we've been going through. And to thank you, Steve and his staff for working on getting the legislation for us today, because
I'd like to expand upon that to explain the craziness, being that fortunately we were granted $116,000 by Cuyahoga County, but we didn't get word of it until Monday.
yesterday, yeah.
So Dana had to change everything that she'd already done, but it was worth the effort because that's a lot of money. And we thank you, Dana, for the hustle that you put in, not only to obtain the money, but to get the documents ready so we didn't have to have a special meeting yet again this year.
Mhm.
And the numbers in the appropriations, Brent, reflect the reality of what we believe will happen for the balance after December 31st becomes actual. But it's all rounded, it's all very generous. It's also that we don't over exceed any of the line items so that we can get a clean audit in 2 or 3 years from now.
Dana, I have a question on, first of all, thank you for doing all this. On section 2, item 299, it lists the coronavirus relief fund. Is that separate from the one that we're about to talk about, or is that part of, like, what is that?
That is part of it. The Fund 299 was established already by council, and we were depositing the revenue there, but not the expenditures, because we had to go through every single expenditure, look through purchase orders, search for anything related to coronavirus to find those expenditures that were coded in the various departments, because when this first started, we didn't know we were getting funds. But I'll explain that when we go into the next piece. The next piece is a kind of a companion piece, which is all that Fund 299, how we came up with the numbers that we recorded there, and the process that we went in to get the funding, et cetera, et cetera. But that's what is going to be discussed next.
I'd like to just, for the new council people, say this is not really a policy ordinance because you've already established all the policies. This is just an accounting ordinance. This is just taking all the policies, translating them into the financial numbers and submitting them so that we have clean audits. So what you're seeing is just rounded, basically housekeeping, a bookkeeping housekeeping item.
I was going to use that exact word. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, by the state auditors, you have to have your numbers all kind of balanced out by the end of the year. So we obviously don't know what's going to be spent for the rest of the year with payroll and other operating expenses. We have estimates and we have ideas. So you have to pass your budget before the end of the year. That's the last budget that the council or the auditors will use. So this is what they're going to use. So there are estimates. That's why there's rounding and that type of thing. And once we get everything done, we'll report back to you what the actuals are once we get to that December, once we have all those actual reports. These are still just estimates, and it's a housekeeping measure to help satisfy the auditors. And it's to kind of clean up for all the different things that's happened since the last appropriation was passed was December of 2019. So this is the final one to kind of clean up and balance everything out for the 2020 year.
Question, Dana, as I believe I understand it, at the end of the year, we can have an excess of funds, but we can't have a shortfall. We have to at least match the money in the bank with the money that we spend, or at least have more than we spend.
Correct. You can't
have that cushion.
That is correct. You cannot have a shortfall. You can't have negative funding. So all those individual accounts have to be balanced out so that we make sure that we don't have any citations where we've spent more in a fund than we brought in. And so that's kind of what this does. Exactly. Thank you.
Oh, just a question on that then. Basically, we're going to pass tonight, I'm assuming, the 2021 budget. Basically, it matters, but it doesn't matter because you're going to readjust it throughout the year anyways, is what you're saying, is that,
That's
what we're
correct, but-
passing for the next year.
It's our blueprint, and if you pass it, it allows us to spend. If you don't pass it tonight, then come January, we can't spend anything.
Yeah, by law, by March 31st, you have to have a permanent budget in place, or a temporary budget by January 1st. So we don't do temporary budgets, we do the full-blown budget, and it has to be in place before January 1st, or come January 1st, we cannot cut any expenditures. We can't expend any money. So this allows us to continue operating. And then if needed throughout the year, or at least at the end of the year, we do kind of what we call the cleanup of making sure everything is balanced and make any final little tweaks.
So then what happens in March? You said there was a,
This isn't, by March is the deadline with the auditor's estate's office that you have to have a permanent budget. By January 1st, you have to have a budget in place, either temporary or permanent. So we're doing our permanent budget. So we don't need to worry about the March deadline because we're doing it before January 1st.
This has been my thing for 25 years. I don't want to do a temporary appropriations, and we don't. Many communities you're going to hear are working on their budgets in January, February, March. Now, the pro of doing it that way, besides, I think it's ridiculous because it's so much extra work, but they think they can better judge what their expenses are if they're a quarter of the way into the year before they establish their budget for the year. I have been a CPA for 40 years, and this is just the way I have set it up since I become able to have a say on how it's done. Other communities don't. They'll pass the temporary, and then January, February, March, they're working on the permanent.
We can't be out of money. We still have checks.
Yeah, right.
All right. Why don't we call roll on ordinance 2020-22?
Klein,
Yes,
Comet,
yes,
Charnes,
Yes,
Vincent,
yes,
Terry,
Yes,
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. I'll make a, moving on to ordinance 2020-23, an ordinance to make annual appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for village during the calendar year 2021. For first reading, administration is again request suspension. I'll make a motion to suspend. Is there a second?
second that,
Thank you. If you call roll on suspension, please, Anna.
Klein,
yes,
Comet,
yes,
Charnes,
yes,
Vincent,
yes,
Perry,
yes,
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes, and I'll make a motion to pass 2020-23. Is there a second?
seconded.
Thank you.
Can I just say something
please.
before I turn it over to Dana for any more and detailed explanation? This mirrors exactly the management operating budget that you just passed earlier tonight. It's just restating it in the format and the categories that's required by this ordinance to go to the county commission, county budget commission. But this reflects exactly what we passed earlier tonight as the management operating budget that we are going to use as our guidance as we go through 2021.
I had a question under section 2, if you don't mind. On the 2021 budget, there were a couple items that do not appear on the 22 or 20 on the 2020 budget. There are a couple items that don't appear on the 2021 budget. In particular, the capital improvement and recreation capital.
Because we run that through the general, why, Dana? Did we put that to general?
Are you referring to the section where it has transfers?
Transfers, yes.
Oh.
We didn't do any transfers to those funds for 2021 because it wasn't needed. Because you're
Judge,
doing different,
we seldom transfer to the 403 because that's the park. The only time we did was to get money in there for the bathroom, which is going to get done soon. Generally, we have lived within the revenue sources, which is the building permits for new homes.
But what about the capital improvement? Would there not be any need for any kind of capital?
Transferred into 401.
It's
the
not-
transfers that we did in 2020 were a result of, we did some extra funding that we put over there for reserves. And at this point in time for 2021, we don't have as much being put in for the reserves for those accounts. It may change at the end of the year once we have actual figures and we can see where we're coming from and what revenues we've brought in. But in 2020, we had a lot more in reserves that we had budgeted to put in those extra funds to set aside for future capital. And that's not in the budget for 2021.
Is that something that can be amended as it becomes necessary?
Yeah,
and
as
not
I explained-
necessary as it becomes possible. We didn't have enough
Right.
revenue to get more in there. If we get more revenue than we budgeted, yeah, we can do that. And if our general fund goes up as we expect it to, we can do it with that too. But it doesn't matter where it's sitting, we can spend it for those reasons.
Okay.
As we kind of,
I noticed that they were different and I didn't understand, quite honestly.
Tighter
why.
budget this year.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm,
Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Mayor.
mhm.
Any other comments?
Good catch, John.
Anybody else have it? Dana, anything else on this? No?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
All right, Anna, if you'd call roll. please.
Klein,
Yes,
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes,
Vincent,
Yes, sorry.
that's okay. Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes. All right, moving on to resolution 2020-8, resolution authorizing ratifying the expenditure of certain coronavirus relief funds, including those received from the coronavirus relief distribution fund pursuant to House Bill 481, consistent with the requirements of section 5001 of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, also known as the CARES Act, and described in 42 USC 801, and any applicable regulations declaring an emergency. I'll make a motion to pass this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Who would like to speak on this? Mayor, Dana?
Go ahead, Dana. Dana did all the work.
Okay, well, Exhibit A is a little financial report summarizing the figures. So I guess I'll start with that one. We received Health and Human Services back in April when all of this began, sent us just under $4,000 for coronavirus to reimburse us for masks, PPE, and that types of things. Then there was the CARES Act, and that started showing up in July through the county fiscal office, and they would give you some funds. And then in October, they gave us the secondary distribution. Then if you couldn't spend the funds, if the communities couldn't spend all of the funds they received by October 25th, those funds got shipped back to the county. The county then had to reallocate it to the remaining communities, and that's the $253.34 that we are getting this month. In addition to that, after all of this was all said and done, and I had all of my numbers done, I got the $253, but I also, the mayor got notification that the county was going to do a separate distribution, and they had requested that we turn in our requests of what we could use additional funds for. Part of that was, if you were going to do anything new, you would have to get your quotes, get a vendor that could do the work, and get it completed and get it paid by December 30th. And that timeline is so tight, especially in light of, we weren't sure when we were going to get the approval or the money, which ended up coming late Monday night. So the timeline was near impossible. So I think a lot of communities did not take advantage of that.
Can I jump in here to give everyone credit that hustled to get this done? Only 19 communities participated in this opportunity to justify reimbursement of COVID expenses.
Did all 19 receive?
Only 19 received.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does all the
Everyone was-
excess money that would have gone to the other communities then go back into the county treasury? And do they have a time limit that they have to do something with it too?
We have to spend it by the end of the year, but we've spent it because Dana will explain.
Well, I'm talking about
Yeah.
the county, what the county has to do with it too.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So the county would have to have that spent by the end of the year or distributed to other communities for them to spend it by December 30th. If they didn't, it would go back to the federal government. So they were working with the different municipalities to see what were their needs, and you had to then submit, and it was for public safety services. So what we ended up doing, rather than trying to get quotes, get vendors during Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that, to see if we can get the work done and paid by the end of year and getting it in our budget. What we had done is we had determined, when we had come up with what our estimated CARES costs were, we were short about $116,600.24. So we already had all of that documentation. We already spent it. It was primarily wages. So I worked with the mayor and the county, and we submitted that $116,000 towards fire and police wages having to do with the CARES requirements. And as the mayor said, we found out Monday night that we received those funds. So very surprised. But in the meantime, I also got the $253.34. So then I had to go back and look through expenditures to find that, so we didn't have to send that money back. So we were able to find some additional testing and some additional supplies that were not in our original reports. There is a little bit of refunds and reimbursements from Rotary, Kimball, and that type of thing. And so we put all of that on the report, because rather than taking face masks and prorating it between funds, we just kind of consolidate it all in one. It makes it a little easier for reporting. So we have total revenue in the fund of the $283,514.17, which is the Coronavirus CARES Act money, plus some of the other ancillary reimbursements or monies that we received. Then when you're looking in the expenses, I have to just say there was many webinars. The mayor was involved in them. I was involved in them. I think a lot of other department heads were involved in webinars, listening to what can you do? What can you spend coronavirus money on? And it went back and forth. There was a lot of things at one webinar that said you could do, and then others were saying you couldn't do. You had all these lawyers reading, trying to find out what did all of this mean. So we tried to take a conservative approach in terms of what we put down as expenditures. It had to be things that you didn't have originally in your budget. So for example, we have restrooms at the playground, but that was something that we had in our budget originally. What we didn't have was, we put portable sinks. We had extra cleaning at the playgrounds. So those things we attributed to CARES expenditures, because those were not things that we originally had planned on. Purchasing of masks, purchasing of cleaning supplies, and those type of things we attributed to things that we wouldn't have normally done. We wouldn't have spent that money had it not been for the coronavirus. The biggest expenditure that we did was the departmental wages. And in looking at that, you could look at, even though you budgeted salaries for departments, because you had to retask them or they had to do their job differently because of Corona, that you could look at that as a Corona related expense. And that really helped a lot of the communities, because, you know, you can only buy so much masks and Lysol and cleaning supplies. And villages were losing revenue streams, and you couldn't use a loss of revenue towards any of these expenditures. It had to be only expenses. So most of our expenses related to wages. So Exhibit B was a summary. I talked with all the different departments about what did they have to do that was different than what they had to do, which was cleaning their vehicles, police cleaning their vehicles every time they had somebody in their car, cleaning their equipment, cleaning their facilities, city hall, building department. They were all tasking with throughout the day, every day cleaning. Our cleaning service only came twice a week. So we were in there cleaning up the restrooms ourselves. If we had people coming in there, we were cleaning them ourselves. We were cleaning things every morning. Anna's walking around, wiping down all the light switches, and doorknobs. So we looked at all that time that was taken to do that. Anna set up the coronavirus webpage. There was different tasks that different departments did. So I outlined each of the departments, and we didn't go person by person. What we did is we looked at what was their total department budgets and how much of somebody's day was tasked with doing these things. So we came up with a percentage and then used that percentage over the 9.5 months that we had coronavirus, and took a percentage of their wages and attributed it that way. So if you kind of go through the 4-page summary that I gave, which is a summary, it talked about the fire department, number of calls that they took that were COVID related calls. The service department, I mentioned the PPE, cleaning of vehicles, checking and making sure we had sanitation services at the playground and in our outdoor spaces. The building department was them cleaning their own spaces. So it kind of went through each of the different departments. In finance, we had the auditors that were coming out right when this hit, and they couldn't come. They were all working from home. So we literally had to, every single thing that they wanted to look at, we had to go pull it, copy it, look and see if we needed to redact any personal information, scan it, set up a file, and email it to them. I sent them probably 1,000 emails of data for them to do their work online. But that was time that we had to devote to that. In addition, we had our new SSI software. We went live April 1st. They couldn't come out to train us. They couldn't come out to do everything. We had to do everything online. So those are just some of the things that we had in terms of wages for the different departments. Then the expenditures.
Did you highlight Anna?
Well, I did say Anna with her doing the website and all that. She spent untold hours on that. For expenditures, we looked at face masks, sanitizers, gloves, the portable sinks. We ended up purchasing laptops for the building department for Anna and myself to handle Zoom meetings, because that wasn't something that we had planned on, but we ended up needing it because of the COVID. We looked at some of the legal services that were billed that were related to COVID. We had some administration leave. So we looked at anything that we felt was prudent and conservative that we could attribute to COVID that we wouldn't have had to spend those dollars for.
To include all of the community messaging, both time and services that had to be expended in order to keep everyone in the community informed as to what's going on over the course.
Anna's time, but not mine.
We primarily did Anna's time on that and how much time she spent. I met with departments and they would tell me about how many hours they would spend a week on different things.
Was Chief Wilson included in on that?
Yes, if you read under the fire department, it talks about Chief Wilson and all of the time that he was that he had spent. He spent a significant amount of time attending the meetings, researching. He sends out weekly blurbs to all the staff, giving us updates, telling us what's due, and giving us some reports every week. So yeah, he has significant time as well.
And did it include information with any legal information regarding the resolution that we passed last week regarding the masks at the playground? And
we have found enough expenses to absorb all the income we got, so we don't need to think of more right now.
Let me just explain something. Since this is a separate fund, there's more. If I had more expenses, I couldn't code it there anyway, because it would then, as we discussed earlier, I would have more expenditures in that fund than I had revenue. So all I was looking for is to cover what we actually had determined. And that's why you notice on the Exhibit A, it zeros at the bottom, because it has to zero. So I had more expenditures I could have coded here, but because I only had so much revenue, I could only expend equal to those revenues. So that's why it zeroes out at the bottom. So we only showed expenditures to equal how much money we actually received.
We're asking you to ratify these expenditures the way we've accounted for it and the way we thought about it, because that will lend us a far more protection when this is audited, or if they want the money back. This is all the steps we need to do it every which way we know to protect that we've followed all the rules. It may be an overstep more than we need, but we feel if council ratifies the way we thought about it, that will help in any future explanations we may or may never need.
And getting it this time won't preclude us from getting additional funds. Should they issue additional funds next year? They won't, well, you already got it in December of 2020, so you're not entitled in 2021.
Well, I don't think so. I never heard that, but if it did, what difference does it make? Get it now or get it then?
No,
We've
if
gotten it already.
right now, everything that is out there has, all the coronavirus funds have to be spent, have to be received and spent by December 30th.
Everything
So
ends.
if there is nothing that's carried over, everything has to be done by December 30th of this year. If they decide next year to pass anything and give us any coronavirus funds, then we will deal with it at that time. We already have the fund established. We just have no revenue, no expenditures in the 2021 budget. So
Is there,
And it gives
because
us the
is there a
format.
clawback provision in this that says that they can come back and take, is there a penalty? Is, I mean, it's
Haven't
similar
heard
to the
about penalties.
PPP, it's similar to a PPP loan that businesses got where they apply, and if they're not forgiven, it's a loan and they have to end up paying interest on it. What is our liability if they came back and said, oh, well, you got 283, but you only should have gotten 180. Do we have to
Then we'd
pay
have to
them
pay it
back
back.
100 with interest, or, you know?
Steve, do you know? I never heard of that. I don't know how that's any different than any grant we ever get, that we just have to follow the rules. We've never been
Yeah.
audited. We've never given anything back.
You have to follow the rules. I mean, each grant comes with its own red tape that you have to comply with.
the
Yeah,
rules
okay.
that we've followed are all the rules from all of the webinars that we've attended with lots and lots of attorneys giving advice on how to do it. However, that being said, if there was a wrong interpretation and something that we are allocating our expenditures to that they determine, hey, gee, that doesn't really meet the requirement, then we would have to return those funds. I haven't seen anything talking about any interest being added. Also keeping in mind, this is not going to be audited until probably 2022, 2023, when we get our audits done. So that's why I wanted to make sure we had all our I's dotted, T's crossed, all our paperwork put together, because I'm not going to remember this in 2 years' time when it comes time for the audit.
All
how we
my,
did
all
it.
my experience with audits and IRS, document, document, document. This is good documentation, and it's conservatively done. I think if we needed to justify more, we even could have. I mean, I could have put a lot of my time in there too, and we didn't.
One final thing with regards to the document that I had presented, I did put a note in there because I wanted it to be documented, that we did receive, there was other funds that were received. There's the Family First Plan where the payroll gets covered by the federal government if people are on a COVID sickness, sick leave. And we did have employees that took advantage of that program. That is not included in this fund. Those are in the accounts that were recorded. That's handled through the ADP records, and so it's not included here. In addition, we got credits. Anthem, our health insurance bill, one of the months they came through and gave us a credit and deducted our premiums and said it was CARES funds. But that's through them. That was not through any of these.
And also all the huge dividends from workers' comp was one way of getting money passed through because of all the COVID stuff. And that doesn't show up in here either.
No, I didn't include that. What I was including was the Corona CARES Act funds that we received from the county. The only reason I included those other ancillary accounts was because those I treated as a reimbursement or a deduction of the cost of that PPE. So I kind of kept them all together rather than saying this invoice for PPE is part of it goes over here. I tried to consolidate it so that it was kind of all concise and nobody could, I didn't want them to come out and say, well, you got this Health and Human Services for PPE. Where is that tracked? I kind of just try to keep all the PPE together and pick up the ancillary miscellaneous revenues that we received in terms of the Department of Public Safety. We had a $1,500 grant that was received for PPE. Rotary gave us $700 towards a donation towards masks. So I kind of, because all the masks, any mask we got was put into this 299 fund. So I put all of that, any revenue that related to it, into that fund as well. So it was easy to track. So it wasn't like we were including the expenses and covering costs on it twice.
You did a good job on this, guys. We're just asking you to ratify it as our
Yeah.
backup documentation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work.
Yeah.
That was very thorough. Thank you. Are there questions from anyone?
No.
Okay. If that's the case, then would you call roll, please?
Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnes,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes, thank you, Dana.
Perry,
Yes.
Silver,
Yes.
Duber.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
All right. So moving on to audience comments relating to matters which advance the view of the village. Anyone? Okay. Comments, Mayor.
Okay, I do have a number of comments to make tonight, so be comfortable.
Should I go get a cocktail?
Yeah, pass it around. In just normal sundry news, we have been advertising the holiday coupon book on the website and Facebook and e-news that went out today. So far, we have given out 40 that have come in to get them. And Mary from Pinecrest came to pick up 80 that she wanted to have to the residents at the apartments that she was going to hand out. This Friday from 9 to noon, or when the truck is full, is paper shredding at Pepper Pike. They request bags only, paper bags, and no businesses. Holiday delivery for the fire department is fully booked and scheduled. We cannot take any more gift deliveries. Holiday light collection is this Friday and next Friday at the service department from 7 to 3. And we put out today in the e-news and on the website information for anyone who needs some assistance on their utilities. And it's on our COVID resource page. It has been my habit, my tradition at the end of each, well, before I switch to that, let me also tell you that Bob Zugan, Brian Mader, and I met yesterday, and I have had the opportunity to speak to Brandon about it. And between now and probably not the first meeting in January, but hopefully by the second week in January, we're going to roll out a plan for engaging in a town hall meeting of a Zoom nature with residents of the Orangewood subdivision to hear their feedback on the possibility of us installing, extending the recreational trails through Orangewood on Orangewood Boulevard, Orangewood Drive only. We'll prepare the numbers. It won't cost a prohibitive amount out of our other revenues. We have room in the 5 million to do most of it. There's a few options that will dictate the price one way or the other. We'll get into all the details of that. But the administration will be bringing that to the council to make the decision to do it. As part of that, we want to roll out a chance for the residents to come in and weigh in on this. And we promised them we would. And then we're looking at a tight timeline because we do hope for answers and direction and a vote no later than March, so that we can, right now, Brian and Bob and Steve are talking about the different options we have, whether we have to go to bid or we can do change order. We will figure that out and let you know. But that, I don't think it's a hard decision, but that big decision is coming before you in the next month or two.
Yeah.
But like as Mayor said, we did make the promise for residents, that we'd have some type of town hall, and we will do that. So we'll get that figured out and let everybody know.
I like the last meeting of the year because it gives me a chance. It's been my tradition to spend some time going over the accomplishments and reminding everyone what we've done this year, because, or not just this year, every year. I think sometimes maybe because you're just in once a month, you might lose sight of some of the things that get done in between. I mean, we push a lot of work out through this council and this administration that maybe we forget about. In fact, I would tell you that if we had all the time in the world, I would read every accomplishment on Bob Zugan's 4-page, double-sided, single-space list of accomplishments. Yes, he beats all the rest of you. They do so much work, but you will get the details of his list in the annual service department report. A lot of it is their job descriptions. So I just choose some of the highlights to tell you tonight, some of the unusual, not typical, ordinary things. I will say that this year, 2020, I personally consider it an accomplishment to have gotten through this year, certainly with no interruptions, disruption of our service or operations to our residents. Despite having affected employees and a rising number of COVID positive staff members, we have been able to not only manage the routine of everything, but there have been, as I will get into, some extraordinary efforts put forth in unusual ways by our staff. I have to start with Anna and the administration. That COVID resource page was a big effort and well done and maintained and kept current by Anna. Weekly CARES calls and e-news, again, I may get the credit, but Anna did the work. And in fact, again, today, Anna, I had another person tell me that those calls kept them sane. It has amazed me how well received those calls. It's frightening how much people wanted those calls. It's good. And Anna pulled all that off. Those, I think, were big accomplishments this year. The holiday reverse trick or treat parade, that was an accomplishment and something new. And we had 1,000 bags put together by the staff to pull that off. And we had a good turnout by the staff to participate as well. Again, credit to Stacy and Brent, but we have our first holiday coupon book. Not to repeat too often, but I am going to mention in the finance department, the accomplishments were significant this year. The amount of work product that Dana and Kathy, with some assistance from Kelly and Anna, have pumped through the finance department this year is really an unusual amount. Given the transition to a new software package at the same time as a state audit, at the same time as chasing COVID funds and figuring out how to properly account for them when there was very clear guidance from upper level agencies. And doing all this in COVID was pretty remarkable. We have been successful this year at getting most of the grants that we're used to, the Cuyahoga County Solid Waste District, the NOPEC grant, the NOACA grant, not NOACA, NOPEC, and Bob Zugan help, all the grants. We got, the county maintenance reimbursement grants that Bob gets, that's in the $60,000, $70,000 range. The police department in 2020 completed and update and review and changes to all their departmental policies. We now meet the requirements set forth by the Ohio Police Collaborative. We are in the highest ranking group. They score you, I think 1 to 4, we're in the highest group. And in fact, on their website, we earned commendation about how they included us in the group, that they have never seen such excellence in peace officer training and records management. Kudos to the police department for that. 7 mobile data terminals were replaced during the year and put into service, along with 2 mobile speed limit signs. And they're pretty polite signs. Unless you go too fast, they'll yell at you. But no one here has had them yell at you, right? Okay. The police department was completely renovated this year, updated, renovated, new space was added onto it. We have continued our involvement in the Valley Enforcement Group. Our officers participate in SWAT, hostage negotiation, child abduction cart, and unmanned aerial vehicle unit, UAV. If you've noticed, if any of you have driven by Village Hall during the day, the Chagrin Valley Dispatch Regional Group acquired, I don't even know, a super sophisticated, state-of-the-art, major piece of moving vehicle, a command vehicle. It's being stored in the Orange Village Fire Department. It belongs to all the communities of the CVD. It's an impressive, amazing piece of equipment. When we're allowed to get together again, we'll have to show it to you. The building department, with only literally the equivalent of 1.15 full-time building inspectors, are on track to complete 900 code inspections this year, issued 500 permits, collected $160,000 in permit fees, and registered 425 contractors. Now, I bet Judd would guess higher. How many permits do you think were issued this year for new houses, Judd?
About 70.
Shocking. 19.
19.
19. I thought it was so much more too. It seems like we have 5 every week.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
But we'll have Bob explain.
Maybe they're getting the approvals, but not necessarily coming in and getting the permits. I find that hard to believe.
He said it had to do with how many were still continuing. The permits were issued.
Well, I know one that's still continuing.
Have you gotten your permit?
Not yet. But in fact,
You're not counted in that.
Bob and I spoke this morning. There's some stuff I have to pick up on.
You will be 20. Okay. The Orange Village Fire Department had a whole lot of the pressure and the effort and the energy on all of our departments, from what you just went through on the COVID resolution, with everyone cleaning vehicles and maintaining things that we've taken for granted in the past. Just getting through all those additional things was an accomplishment enough. But in addition to that, our fire department beefed up and built up a very now busy fire inspection department, where in the past we didn't have too many. We now have quite a serious department. Once the things are built, they're not done. Restaurants need to get inspected. I think it's 3 times a year. I'm looking at Wilson's. Gone. Okay. He's at his other fire department and he told me he'd have to leave if he got an emergency. But they have become a full-fledged inspecting department. Were able to get the extrication equipment that they needed this year, and also they have recently moved to a more paperless operation, having all their truck checks and everything streamlined and made paperless. Bob Zugan has accomplished quite a bit as well. In 2020, we finished the completion of our Great Lakes Restoration Initiative tree grant. We saw the planting of 750 trees throughout the village. That got finished in 2020, started in 19. As I mentioned earlier, although it's really Bob's accomplishments, not the police department, that the police department got totally remodeled. The Waddell room got updated with new floor. The administration offices were all painted. The women's bathroom was updated with a new vanity. And we have a new aerial photo in the Waddell room, which compared to the older one we had, shows a lot of changes that we've all been part of over the last few years. In the park, the improvements that were accomplished in 2020 was electric service has now been installed and is available back there, or is accessible, I should say. The sanitary pump vault was installed, and those are all in preparation for the permanent restroom facility that we will be getting springish of 2021 before you to move forward. In the ball field, all the backstops were replaced, and well, it doesn't say that here. I know we got new dugouts. dugouts? Dugouts, yeah, okay. And we replaced culverts and put in bear saver trash cans, and the service department repaved 90% of the park trails this year, including removing a lot of trees and stump grinding. All right, I mentioned the grants earlier. We had a concrete repair program this year. We had an asphalt repair program this year. We had all the routine maintenance. We had 1,000 culverts, not culverts, catch basins inspected. Just some of the things we don't think about, 2,064 yards of leaves were picked up by our service department and given back in the form of 1,026 yards of leaf compost. The service department also assumed responsibility for the entire fleet and maintaining and accounting for it this year. And every department has really stepped up in a big way in every possible category. I am sure I left off some very important accomplishments, but those are just a smattering of them. And thank you goes to all the hardworking employees and the support of council, and that's it.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
So I just like to close by saying I wish everyone a very happy, healthy, happy Hanukkah, happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Keep your masks on, stay safe. We only have a little bit more to go and the cavalry's on its way, and hang in there, everyone. We're going to get through it, and we're getting through it together. And your staff is great.
Great, appreciate it. I'm not gonna say a ton. Obviously, I'm very excited we got the trails done this year. You know, I think it's one of the best benefits for Orange Village. So, you know, it's fantastic to see that. And again, I thank people, but you know, thanks to everybody who's helped make that happen. Thanks to everybody on council. We have a lot of new council members. And you know, I think it was a very good year on council, and I appreciate that from everybody. It makes my job easier, and everybody was great and inquisitive, and I think we have a very good council, and it's good to see. So I appreciate that from everybody on council, and Anna, thanks to you as always for, you know, helping out and doing everything that you do. I think that is most of my comments. So again, happy holidays, happy New Year, adios 2020. Won't miss you. And
goodbye. Farewell.
And I think that's about all. So let's go on to Mrs. Perry.
Hi. I'll keep my comments pretty brief tonight, but it has been a heck of a year, and I commend us all for doing what we're doing and making the adjustments we needed to make to stay safe, especially to our employees, because I worried about them so much in the beginning when we didn't know anything. It was so scary, and I give them a lot of credit for continuing to put themselves at risk every day that they go and tend to people in our community. So thank you to them all. And thank you to you all. I know Zoom meetings aren't the favorite or the best or easiest, but here we are. We've done it. So hopefully in 3 months, maybe 6 months, we can meet back in person. I can't wait for that. So it was a good year. Thank you all.
Thank you. Mr. Comment.
Yeah.
Or actually, Mr. Silver, I'm sorry, going out of order, confusing myself. Let's go to Mr. Silver.
Other than happy holidays, everybody, I do not have anything. Thank you.
All right. Oh, Mr. Comment.
Yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for all your help in my time during my time of you know, crazy stuff going on in my time. So thank you all for all your help.
Thank you. Glad you're doing well.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chernus.
Very brief, especially after hearing the mayor made me feel like since March, since I haven't left the house, I've done nothing compared to what's happened in the village. So that just reminds me to thank, I mean, all of, the world might be crazy, but we still have to provide all those services. And, I know she was just summarizing, just to think of everything that they had to do on the front lines to keep our village operating is really unbelievable, when so many people like myself basically had to just not leave their house, yet you guys and girls had to go out there every day and keep us running. So
Alan,
I thank everyone for that.
Alan, I want to tell you, it's been a very humbling year because I don't leave my house too much either, and they don't miss me.
And that scares me, that, I don't know that I miss that much.
That's all right. They
leaving.
take directions over the phone.
But anyways, that just reminds, to thank all those people that have to go out there every day and continue to do their job, and especially in our village, how much we get done with, we don't have that many people. So the number of hats that people wear, whether it be Anna or, Dana helping out there, and all in the service department, and the overlap between the police and fire. So thank you all for getting us through a 2020 and keeping our village running, keeping our residents safe and happy. And I just wish everyone a happy and mostly healthy new year.
Thank you.
That's head.
Mr. Klein and your beret.
Alan brought up wearing hats, so I thought I'd put one on.
Sarah has one.
Yes, he does. Not a beret, of course. In any event, there was no Planning Commission or Architectural Review Board meeting to report on. The next meeting will be next Tuesday, so I won't be able to make a report till 2021. I do want to thank all my colleagues on the Planning Commission, Architectural Review Board for their hard work over the course of the year. We did accomplish quite a bit in the Planning Commission and Design Review Board. And while it seems only 20 permits were granted, we certainly reviewed a lot more projects than that over the course of the year. And there's, I think, a lot going on that's keeping Bob McLaughlin busy. I want to thank, in particular, Dana and all the department heads for the hard work that they put together the budget and get that up, including the effort that was expended in the COVID CARES Act money and making that workable so that Orange Village could be a beneficiary of that resource. And then I want to thank also the mayor, administration, the fire department, police department for all of their hard work, and of course the Bob Zugan and the service department for all their hard work over the course of the year to not only keep us safe, but keep us well served as a community, and providing us all of the necessary things that make life at least livable in our community, and make it more than livable, but make it wonderful. So I want to wish all of you Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and New Year. May 2021 not just be a new year, but a renewed year. So let's go there. And I am finished. And hats off to all of you.
Thank you, Judd. Ms. Vincent.
I've seen a few yawns in the Zoom call, so I'll try and keep this short, but I did want to say congratulations to Scott Lewis. Welcome back. He's gone, but we'll put it in the minutes. And also congratulate our newest cabinet member. It's nice to have a Clevelander in the cabinet. Also great to see our friend Jesse from Pinecrest featured on Kicking It with Kenny on Fox 8 this past week. I don't know if any of you caught it. I can't watch NBC anymore, so now I'm watching every other station. And really just seeing her and Pinecrest, featured about all that's great there, including their Fostering Hope event. It was really great to see that. So kudos to them. They do have the holiday lighting this week, and it is virtual in case you don't want to leave your houses. It's at 5:30 each night for Hanukkah, beginning tomorrow night, and goes through the 20th. And like I said, it will be live streamed. Just once again, another plug, and I'll keep doing it as long as we have those coupon books. There's some really, really great things in there. Wonderful, awesome incentives. Make sure you pick them up or let us know, and we'll be happy to drop them off. Just a reminder to all that as the temperatures drop, the need is greater than ever for people to have a warm coat and to have food, and all those things that we in Orange Village provide, and that the schools provide, and that the senior center provides. So if anyone out there who's listening needs help, please don't hesitate to call. We have wonderful resources to help you out, and nobody should be hungry this time of year. The High School Key Club is also collecting coats. So if you have and you would like to give, there are lots of people in need. So let me know and I'll direct you toward that too. The Senior Center is doing one more holiday luncheon this year. It is coming up in, I think it's the middle of next week. If you would still like to participate, you may. It's $10. You get a wonderful holiday lunch and a treat. Buy one for you, buy one for your family, or buy one for somebody in need. And then you just drive through and pick it up. So you don't even have to touch or go in anywhere. And my last but not least, a huge thank you as well to our mayor, to Anna, to Steve, to Dana, to Bob, to our chiefs, to all of our village administrators and employees and staff for all you guys do year round, not just during the pandemic, but all those things the mayor mentioned and beyond. You guys,
Did you give a thank you to? You blanked out.
I'm sorry?
Who did you just give a big thank you to?
You among everybody else.
I didn't hear it. Okay.
I said the mayor, Anna, Steve, Dana, Bob, our chiefs, all our village administrators and employees and staff. You guys make Orange Village the extraordinary place that it is, that I'm so proud to be a part of this place. And I want to thank all of my fellow council members for helping me learn to be on the other side of politics as a council member. You've been patient, you've been understanding, you've been so helpful, and it is truly just a joy to serve with all of you. And I look forward to continuing that in the new year. I thank you for your trust. I thank our residents and our neighbors for their input, for lending me their voice, for their openness and communications. And I will continue to work for you all in the year ahead too. So please keep sending us the emails, keep sending us the notes. We'd love to hear from you. And I thank everybody for their trust and for being the best neighbors ever. So stay well, everybody, stay safe, and have a very happy, healthy, wonderful holiday and a fantastic 2021.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I will make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Anna, would you call roll, please?
Mute myself. Okay. Klein,
Yes.
Comet,
Yes.
Charnas,
Yes.
Vincent,
Yes.
Perry, Lisa, oh, sorry,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, of course.
Silver.
Yes.
Did we miss Brent for the thing? Did I miss that you said something during the,
I basically had no comment.
thank you, I'm sorry, I missed that, thank you. Duber.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a happy new year. Yada, yada. See you
Happy
next year.
holidays.
Thank you.
8:48.
Oh, Kathy,
What?
you
What?
still on? So Alex said that was an overly exuberant